What does it really mean when a man, already committed to someone else, starts pursuing you? Is it love? Is it fate? Or is it something far more complicated and far less romantic? When a man seeks you out while he's married or in a relationship, it's easy to get swept up in the fantasy. He says he's unhappy, that you're different, that you make him feel alive again. But behind those sweet words often lies a very different truth. He may be craving an escape, not a real connection. He might be seeking validation, not love. He could be looking for the thrill, not the responsibility of building something meaningful. What's worse? He's not choosing you. He's refusing to choose at all. He wants the comfort of his current relationship while soaking up the emotional high you bring. But what if you're just a bridge between his boredom and his next excuse? In this video, we're diving deep into the 6 truths about what a man really wants when he pursues you while still with someone else, and why staying in that dynamic could be the most damaging thing you ever tolerate. The question isn't why he's doing it. The question is, why are you staying available to someone who won't choose you? If a man is in a committed relationship, married, or with a girlfriend, and still seeks you out, the first thing you need to understand is this: it's usually not about you. It feels personal. It feels exciting, even flattering. But the reality is, you may simply be his escape, not his destination, not his truth, just his momentary breath of air when he feels like he's drowning in the life he built. You might hear things like, "You're different," or "I haven't felt this way in a long time." And while those words feel powerful in the moment, you have to ask yourself, why now? Why is he only realizing all this when he already has someone else? This kind of situation is usually driven by a man needing emotional escape, not emotional responsibility. If he truly wanted something real with you, he would do the hard thing first, end his current relationship, process it, and come to you whole and clear. But most of the time, that's not what happens. Most of the time, he's still in that other relationship while he's exploring you, emotionally, romantically, or even just through subtle flirtation. And that tells you everything you need to know. When someone is truly ready for something with you, they don't keep another door open behind them. They don't put one foot in your life while the other is still in someone else's. That's not love. That's indecision. That's avoidance. That's self-gratification dressed up as connection. You see, people don't just cheat physically. They cheat emotionally. They cheat with their time, their energy, their attention. And when a man seeks out someone new while still attached to someone else, it's often not because he's planning to leave. It's because he's planning to feel better about where he already is. You become the medicine, the distraction, the illusion of something more, while he continues to avoid the reality he's unwilling to face. Now, here's where it gets even more tricky. He might believe he's in love with you. He might even convince himself and you that this is real, that he's finally found someone who sees him, who understands him, who makes him feel alive again. And maybe you do. Maybe your connection is real. Maybe the chemistry is off the charts. But that doesn't mean he's ready. That doesn't mean he's available. And it definitely doesn't mean he's going to change anything about his current life to make room for you. He's looking for emotional comfort, not emotional commitment. You're giving him a feeling, but you don't yet know if he's willing to give you a future. And that's the part we ignore. We focus so much on how someone makes us feel that we forget to ask what they're actually doing. And what he's doing is very simple. He's hiding from his problems, from his responsibilities, from the uncomfortable truths in his life. And in you, he's found a moment of peace in the storm he created. But just because someone finds peace in you doesn't mean they're going to stay there. Sometimes people come to you just to catch their breath before they go back to whatever's familiar, even if it's broken. Think about this. If someone is willing to step outside of their relationship to pursue you without closing that chapter first, how do you ever truly trust that they wouldn't do the same to you later on? If they can compartmentalize this much, if they can rationalize this behavior while looking you in the eyes and telling you they care, then what are they really capable of when life gets hard again? Don't fall in love with someone's attention. Fall in love with their actions. Fall in love with their consistency. Fall in love with their courage. And if he's not willing to be brave enough to confront his own relationship before bringing you into the picture, then you are not being chosen. You are being used as a coping mechanism. And this is the hardest part to accept, because it doesn't mean you're not amazing. It doesn't mean you didn't connect. But if he's still with someone else while pursuing you, you are simply not being honored. You're being borrowed. And when you allow someone to borrow your time, your heart, your energy, without clarity, without exclusivity, without integrity, you end up empty, resentful, confused, questioning your worth. So when you find yourself in that situation, pause, step back, ask yourself, is he showing up for me in a way that feels clean? Or am I being used as a bandage for wounds he hasn't healed? Because if he's running from something instead of running to something, that's not love. That's relief. And you deserve more than just being someone's relief. You deserve to be someone's choice. You know, when a man comes to you while he's already in a relationship, whether he's married or has a girlfriend, one of the most overlooked truths is that he's often not looking for love. He's looking for validation. Now, I want you to really sit with that, because in the heat of the moment, when he's whispering sweet things, when he's saying how much he connects with you or how you see him in a way she doesn't, it's tempting to believe you're special in a way that justifies all of this. But here's what's really happening underneath. He's hungry for attention. He's craving significance. And instead of working on the connection with his current partner or working on himself, he's outsourcing that need to you. And this isn't about you not being valuable. In fact, the irony is, you're so valuable, you shouldn't be used as someone's emotional support system when they've already committed themselves elsewhere. But what he sees in that moment is someone who listens, someone who's warm, someone who brings back that rush of being desired again. Because in his relationship, maybe things have gone stale. Maybe he doesn't feel wanted, or he's become just another routine. So what does he do? He looks for someone who makes him feel alive again. Not because he's ready to love deeply, but because he's trying to feel something, anything that makes him feel worthy again. And this is where things get dangerous. Because when a man is searching for validation, he's not thinking long term. He's not evaluating, can I build something meaningful with this person? He's thinking, who can make me feel good about myself right now? And unfortunately, the woman who steps in thinking this is about love ends up being a tool in someone else's emotional crisis. He may tell you he's unhappy. He may say things like, I've never met anyone like you, or I feel like I can finally be myself with you. And you might start to believe that you're his missing puzzle piece. But these are not the words of someone who's made a choice. These are the words of someone who's emotionally starving, and you're the buffet he's chosen for now. Validation is tricky because it feels like love. It mimics it. It flirts with it. But it's hollow underneath. It doesn't hold weight when pressure is applied. That's why so many women find themselves months, even years down the line with a man who's still figuring things out or waiting for the right time to leave. Because he wasn't in it to build something real. He was in it to feel better about himself. And the trap is, the more he opens up about his struggles, the more you feel like you're connecting. You feel like, he's trusting me. This is different. But here's what you have to remember. Vulnerability doesn't equal availability. Just because someone opens up to you doesn't mean they're capable of being with you. Some people confuse dumping their emotional mess on you with being close to you. But closeness without commitment, that's a slow bleed. And the more you give, the more you'll eventually realize you've been carrying someone else's emotional baggage with nothing to show for it but confusion, false hope, and your own depleted self-worth. So many women stay because of the potential, because they think he just needs time to figure things out. But time doesn't change people. Choices do. And if he's still choosing the comfort of the relationship he complains about, while keeping you emotionally tethered in the background, that's not confusion, that's selfishness. You deserve to be chosen in daylight, not visited in shadows. You deserve to be someone's clarity, not their confusion. And if he's seeking you while still entangled in another relationship, ask yourself, is he building a future with you? Or is he just borrowing your presence to avoid his own pain? Because you are not here to remind someone of their worth while they continue to ignore yours. Let's talk about something that's easy to ignore when emotions are running high. And that's the truth that many people don't want to admit to themselves. When someone seeks you out while they're already in a relationship, they're often chasing a thrill, not a future. Now I know that can be hard to hear, especially when this man is saying all the right things when he's looking you in the eyes, telling you how unhappy he is in his relationship, how misunderstood he feels, how different things are with you. And in those moments, it can feel like you're being chosen, like he's seen something in you that he can't ignore, something that's pulling him away from a life that doesn't fulfill him. But here's what you have to understand. The moment he steps into your life without having stepped out of his current relationship, he's not choosing you. He's choosing excitement. He's choosing intensity. He's choosing to scratch an itch. He's choosing the feeling of freedom without actually having to earn it. Because freedom, real freedom, costs something. It costs honesty. It costs confrontation. It costs walking away from something that's safe, even if it's stagnant. It means owning up to his choices and taking responsibility for the mess that he might have made in his own life. But seeking you out while still being with someone else, that's not freedom. That's him trying to eat his cake and have it too. That's him saying, I'm not ready to lose what I have, but I'm also not willing to resist what I want. And in that dynamic, where does that leave you? You become the outlet, the adrenaline, the thing he turns to when life feels dull. And here's the kicker. It doesn't even mean he doesn't love his partner, because this isn't always about you versus her. It's not a competition. It's about him, about what he's trying to feel or escape from. You might think, but if he's risking everything just to be with me, that must mean something real. And it might for him in that moment, but moments are cheap if they're not backed by action. Passion without commitment is just a high. And like all highs, it crashes fast. When someone comes into your life in this way, they're bringing drama, not direction. They're offering intensity, not intimacy. And I get it. That intensity can be intoxicating. It can feel electric. It can make you feel more alive than you've felt in a long time. But if he's still tethered to someone else, emotionally, logistically, physically, then what he's offering you isn't real. It's a borrowed fantasy, a moment stolen from someone else's story. And here's something I want you to remember. If someone wants you, really wants you, they'll do the hard thing first. They'll break free. They'll make space. They'll show up with clarity, not confusion, with decisions, not drama. But when he hasn't left, when he hasn't done that work, you're not stepping into a relationship. You're stepping into an entanglement. And it's not love if it asks you to live in secrecy, to carry the weight of his indecision, to put your life on pause, waiting for him to sort his out. And let's be brutally honest, if he's willing to betray her trust, he's already showing you what he's capable of. Not what he might do to you later, but what he's doing now. And you're just seeing it from the side where the charm lands. But the charm is easy when there are no consequences. The real question is, how does he behave when stakes are high, when the truth is uncomfortable, when life gets messy? Because how someone handles those moments tells you everything you need to know about their character. And character isn't built on chemistry. It's built on consistency. So before you let yourself get caught up in the late night messages, the whispered promises, the emotional roller coaster that keeps pulling you back in, ask yourself, is he really choosing me? Or is he just using me as a detour to avoid the life he doesn't want to deal with? Because you deserve to be someone's first choice, not their escape route. You deserve the kind of love that shows up in the light, not one that hides in the shadows. And most importantly, you deserve a man who is free to choose you and does. He's testing the waters, not jumping in. This is where a lot of people get caught because it feels like he's emotionally invested. He's saying the right things. He's telling you how unhappy he is, how things aren't working at home, how he's been meaning to leave. He may even go as far as saying he's never felt this way before. And it's very easy in that moment to believe that you're the answer to the chaos he's been living in, that you are the clarity he's been needing all along. But here's the truth that often gets buried beneath all that romantic storytelling. He's not making a decision, he's making a distraction. He's dipping a toe in another life, not diving into it. You're not the next chapter, you're the pause between chapters. And that pause can be emotionally intoxicating for you and for him. See, what you have to understand is when someone is unhappy in their relationship, they don't always leave immediately. They linger. They fantasize about what life would be like if they were with someone else. And sometimes you become that fantasy, not because of who you are, but because of what you represent. Freedom, passion, emotional safety, the things he's convinced himself he's lacking where he is. But when someone is serious about changing their life, they don't create emotional entanglements while they're still in another one. They get clear first. They take responsibility. They say, I need to get out of this before I involve anyone else. That's maturity. That's clarity. That's integrity. And if you're dealing with someone who says he's unsure, that he's working things out, that he's figuring things out at home, or waiting for the right time to leave, what he's really doing is trying to have both. He wants to keep his current relationship as a fallback while emotionally sampling something new, you. And often, he doesn't even realize he's doing this. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's just fear. He's afraid to be alone. He's afraid of the consequences of leaving. He's afraid that if he lets go of both options, he'll have nothing. So he holds on to both just enough to not lose either. And in that process, you become emotionally invested. You wait, you hope, you rationalize the situation because he seems sincere. And maybe he is. Maybe he does genuinely like you. Maybe he is deeply confused. But here's where you have to be ruthless in your self-respect. Just because someone is sincere doesn't mean they're available. And just because someone is emotionally open doesn't mean they're emotionally ready. So ask yourself this, is he moving toward you or is he just moving away from her? Because those are two very different things. When someone is genuinely moving toward you, it's deliberate, it's clear, it's based on intention, not escape. But if he's only reaching out because he's dissatisfied in his current situation, then you're not the future, you're the exit door. Now, here's the hardest part. He may believe that he wants something serious with you. He may tell you that he's considering ending his relationship because of what he feels. But if nothing changes, if months go by and he's still figuring things out, if you find yourself having the same conversations on repeat, then you are not in a story of love, you're in a loop of indecision. And people can live in that loop for a very long time, years even, not because they're trying to hurt you, but because they're trying not to hurt themselves. They don't want to blow up their life, so they delay. And you become part of the delay. You become the emotional bridge between what they want to do and what they're too scared to do. And if you're not careful, you start basing your life around their timeline. So what do? You step back, you create space. You say, I'm not an option, I'm a decision. And you hold that boundary with grace and strength. You don't force him to choose. You refuse to let yourself be chosen halfway. You don't negotiate for clarity. You stand in your own. Because in the end, love isn't proven in feelings. It's proven in choices. It's not about how someone talks to you when they're confused. It's about what they do when they're clear. And until he gets clear, you owe it to yourself to not wait in the shadows of someone else's indecision. Let him test the waters alone. You're not here to be the lifeboat for someone drowning in their own confusion. You're here to be the destination for someone who already knows where they want to be. If a man is seeking you out while he's already in a relationship, whether he's married or has a girlfriend, one of the things you have to understand is this: he's likely not doing the inner work. He's not facing what's actually broken in his life. He's avoiding the hard questions, the discomfort, the self-reflection that comes with genuinely looking at what's not working and why he's unhappy. And instead of confronting those things, instead of growing through them, he's looking for a shortcut. And that shortcut might be you. It's easy to think that when someone chooses you in these circumstances, it's because you're different, that you're special, that you're the one who finally gets him. And you might be. But just because someone feels something around you doesn't mean they're ready for what that something would actually demand. Real change, real decisions, real responsibility. Often, they're not trying to grow, they're trying to soothe. And you can't build a healthy relationship on someone else's emotional avoidance. When a man comes to you from within another relationship, pay attention not just to what he's running to, but what he's running from. Is he trying to fix his life? Or is he just trying to feel good? Because if it's the latter, and let's be honest, it often is, then you're not a partner to him, you're a painkiller. And the moment the pain returns, he's going to look for another escape. Maybe that's going back to her, maybe it's disappearing, or maybe it's starting the same pattern with someone new when things with you get real. People think that relationships end because of the new person. But more often than not, they end because someone is unhappy, unfulfilled, disconnected. And instead of healing that first, they jump. But when you jump without healing, you don't land in love. You land in a repetition of your last unresolved mess, just with a new face. So let me be really clear here. If he hasn't taken the time to understand why his current relationship isn't working, how he contributed to it falling apart, and what kind of partner he actually wants to be, he's not ready to be with you. No matter how strong the chemistry is, no matter how deep your connection feels, it doesn't matter. Because love without readiness will always end in pain. You don't want someone who needs you to fix his brokenness. You want someone who's already done the work to become whole. Someone who can meet you from a place of clarity, not confusion. There's something really seductive about being chosen in the middle of someone else's chaos. It feels like a romantic movie, like you're the light in his darkness, the person who helped him feel again. But real love isn't built in the shadows. It's not built in hiding or in between spaces. It's built in truth. And you can't have truth if someone hasn't been honest with themselves first. And I get it. He might say all the right things. I've never felt this way before. I'm not happy in my relationship. I can't stop thinking about you. And maybe all of that is true. But here's the catch. Truth without action is manipulation. If someone tells you everything you want to hear but does nothing to move their life in a direction where being with you is actually possible, then those words are just keeping you stuck. You'll find yourself living in a limbo, waiting, hoping, feeling special but not chosen, feeling seen but not claimed. A man who truly wants you doesn't keep you in the wings while he figures out his life. He gets his life in order first, not because you pressured him, not because you begged, but because he's that kind of man. A man with integrity, with courage, with the self-awareness to understand that dragging someone into a half-finished story isn't love, it's selfishness. So if he hasn't done the work, if he's using your presence as a distraction, if he's talking in circles, if months go by and nothing changes, then you have to do your work. You have to ask yourself, what part of me is attracted to someone who isn't available? What part of me is hoping that if I love him enough, he'll become the man I need him to be? That's where your power lies. Not in changing him, but in choosing you. Because you deserve to be someone's choice, not their relief. You deserve to be with someone who brings clarity, not confusion. Who shows up with both feet in, not one in your world and one in someone else's. And that starts by recognizing that the right relationship can't come from the wrong circumstances. No matter how strong the spark is, it can't turn into something real if it's built on a foundation of emotional avoidance and unfinished business. So don't fall for the illusion of connection when it's wrapped in dysfunction. Don't confuse intensity for intimacy. Real love shows up in the light. It doesn't hide behind a